Good morning, sub-tours. Welcome to this episode of Goat Talk.
Good morning.
This is Goat Talk for March 17th, 2022.
Oh, I forgot to wear green. You did.
I'm wearing green.
I know. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pinch you.
I know.
Yep.
Again.
So,
You're so mistaken.
yeah. So, hey guys, welcome to this episode of Goat Talk. We are coming to you today from Apollo Beach, Florida. Lovely Apollo Beach. You guys, if you're on here with Facebook or YouTube, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're at and what you guys' favorite investing strategy is.
And if you're on Facebook, you should put that link up for the.
Yep.
So we can authenticate you so we know who's talking.
Yep. If you're on Facebook, make sure that you let Facebook in your business. You need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. So we'll know who you are when you're talking to us. Okay, let's see who's on here this morning. Let's see, Matt's here. Hello. Good morning, Matt. Good to see you. Allie's here. Allie, the VA expert and dispo queen of real estate. Kevin, we've got Kevin up in Washington. He says, good morning, William and Jody. Farouk's here. Farouk's right down the road.
I know. We need to connect with him soon.
We've got to meet Farouk for some coffee here soon. I think he's only about 30 minutes away. And then Phil's right down the road too, isn't he?
Yes.
In California. That's nothing for us though, man. We've been traveling for the last 8 months. I don't know how many miles we've driven. And how many states we've been in, but yeah, we've been around a little bit. So yeah, we definitely got to do that. Brian's here this morning. Brian's probably out of the country somewhere. Tell us where you are. Corey's here. Corey says, good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Jody didn't wear green today.
No. I'm like, well, I like to say I'm 100% Irish, but it's probably not really true.
Yeah, she's got that Irish name.
I know.
You are 100%, aren't you?
My maiden name is Flynn, and my grandparents' names were O'Donoghue. So, I mean.
Yep, super Irish.
Yeah, super Irish.
Brian said, I'm actually in Tennessee. I can't believe it. I can't believe he's in the country. So, yeah, so he's not that far away. Let's see. Who else we got here? Brad, good morning, in Minnesota. What part of Minnesota are you in, Brad?
The freezing part.
The freezing part, yeah. We had some guests here last week, and they're of course from Wisconsin, where Jody's from, and they were looking forward to going back to some snow.
We had so much fun with them. There were a lot. We were really getting into the accent mocking all week.
Oh yeah, we did the Yankee Southern lessons all week long last week. I was outnumbered.
Yes, you were.
Actually, by the
but
Yankee
you were mocking us more than we mocked you.
Yeah, well, I have to get in my share of that.
I don't know if it's exactly mocking. It's more like you're practicing.
You could feel Tingle. Yeah, that's right. Allie said our favorite strategy is sub-2, but our business is building teams and transaction coordinating with marketing and dispo. I know. That's what I said. Allie, she's the dispo queen there. If you guys want to move some properties, you need to reach out to her. Plug in your email address, Allie, so they can reach out to you if they have anything they want to sell or want to move. Nick, what's up, Tingles? Nick,
what's up, Nick?
Man, you talk about an amazing investor. He's one of our Max students. He was at our mastermind in January and was talking about an incredible strategy that he uses.
Yeah, he wowed us.
Yeah, we're going to get him on here soon. He's a busy guy, but we're going to get him on here soon to share that with all of you guys as well. So, Matt's laughing at us about something.
Probably the Yankee stuff.
Yeah. Brian says, I love those Yankee Southern lessons. You should do a few on every live stream. Oh, man.
Well, what's the one we were doing lately?
I don't remember.
Are you from Wisconsin or no?
Oh, yeah. All the or no behind everything.
You gotta say it
but
say it. You say it. I like how you say it.
Are you from Wisconsin or no? I don't know. I sound pretty Irish sometimes. I flip over.
I know. You sometimes turn into a leprechaun.
Well, there's not much difference in y'all, I don't think.
I don't know if that's true.
Let's see. Matt says, I do fix and flip, but really like the sounds of wrapping notes. Matt, we got to get you into the Max group sometime. We really go into that stuff there, and just the 12 house blueprint. We're going to be talking more about that soon. So we'll get you into that, man. Once you discover that stuff, it's great. Nick is my hero. Really opened my eyes to new ways. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, Scott, good to see you with that cool new picture. Okay, here's Allie's email, guys. Allie at copperpropertiesus.com. So if you guys are trying to move, and Allie can move your properties for you, whether it's a flip, whether it's seller financing, however you need to do it. She's the person you want to talk to. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. Thank you all for doing this call. Yeah, we are going to get to this eventually. We just chatting here a little bit this morning. Today is an ask us anything. So if you've got creative finance, subject to seller financing,
I thought we were going to ask some questions.
We're going to ask questions?
Yeah, I thought we were going to ask where we should live.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do want to get some advice from you guys this morning. You know, part of the epic road trip, we call it, has been to find where we want to live, where we want our permanent home to be. And so far, out of all the places that we've been, a couple of places we thought would be on the list didn't make the cut. But we have decided that Arizona might be a place, and that we're liking Florida a lot too. So if you guys have some other suggestions, our next stop is going to be somewhere in August, and I think that's going to be North Carolina or Tennessee or Kentucky. I don't think we're sure yet, but I think that's the next place we're going to try, and I think that's going to wrap things up for us. I think we're going to make a decision at that time, aren't we?
Farouk's voting for Florida.
I'm sorry? What was that?
Farouk voted for Florida.
Oh, yeah? Well, we like Florida. I'll tell you, I like Florida a lot. But
I really didn't think I would like it that much, honestly. I
think maybe
it'd be kind of crowded, and
maybe July, early August will tell the tale on Florida, though. I don't know. We'll have to see. The only thing I don't like we're in Apollo Beach. It's really nice. It's a smaller town. But the traffic is just horrible here. Now, someone told us the other day that after Easter, the traffic would decrease by about a third. So we'll see what happens then.
But then the heat comes, and
yeah, so,
I'm not a fan of humidity, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll be in trouble, maybe.
Right. So
Colorado was dry,
mm-hmm.
And it was hot, but it was dry.
Yeah. And Colorado is really crowded too. It's gotten really crowded. So, yeah. And then of course the real estate is just incredible. I mean, it's gone up. I think it's 27% a year for the last 4 years. So that place is crazy. It'll be interesting to see what happens when the correction comes there for sure. Let's see. Virginia is a pretty decent place. I heard it was. We're actually going to be there in September. We'll check that out. Can't wait to get back on the phones implementing some things to get me succeeding at the 12 house blueprint. Yep, you got to get on the phones, got to talk to those sellers for sure. Farouk, you should come visit my area. I'm sure you'll like it better than Apollo Beach. Okay, well, you'll have to tell us why that is the case. Let's see, nice indoor pool. Can't wait for your barbecue. Hey, listen, all the Max students are going to be here.
It's actually not indoor.
Yeah,
it's just screened in.
Yeah, but I guess that's kind of the thing in Florida.
It feels kind of indoor though. It's great.
It's kind of indoorsy.
I'll show it a little bit more if I
Oh, it's not too bad.
It's
yeah.
just, whoops, I'm going to break the things here. It's just screened in.
Yeah.
It keeps the bugs out, which is nice.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
alligators.
And alligators. Yeah, that's important. Let's see. Tracy, never joined by YouTube before. Hey, listen, YouTube is where you want to join from. I think it's a lot easier, and I like that format a lot better myself. Scott says you definitely aren't going to like Florida come July, August. If you don't like humidity.
I know. I'm feeling that's going to happen. I'll just be inside every second of the day.
I'm okay with humidity. I've lived in some pretty rough humidity except for the last 2 years, for a long time. So, I was born in Mississippi. Yeah, forever, pretty much, to be honest with you. So Mississippi, Tennessee, Belize, yeah, some pretty significant humidity there. Okay.
I don't like it.
Send me a message. Yeah, keeps the alligators out. Hey, Renee, good to see you here today. Okay, so the purpose of the show today is it's all about ask us anything. So if you've got creative finance questions, anything that you guys have been wanting to know, just let us have those. Now, we, of course, have some topics here that are the most frequently asked questions. By new and experienced investors, it's amazing the number of people who have been around for a while that still either haven't heard about certain aspects of this. And I get asked all the time different things. So we've got a short list of some things that I want to go over with you guys until y'all start asking questions. So if you see some questions pop up, just stop me. I know, Jody, when you got started as a flipper, a short sale person, which to me, I've been doing this 22 years, and I think short sales are the absolute hardest thing. Now, I guess if that's your specialty, you don't. But short sales are a lot more complicated, and they have that pressure timeline of the bank says, no, 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 no. Okay, yes, we got to close in 3 days.
Right.
So then you got to run around and find a buyer really quickly. So, but I know even when you got started, the group that you got started in, I was in there. Of course, I taught creative finance, and you were hanging out with the wholesaler people, but you thought Subject 2 was crazy, and you didn't want to have anything to do with it.
That's right. Well, I had that limited belief that nobody would sell you a house that way. I didn't think there was anything really wrong with it. I just thought, what are the odds that somebody's going to just deed you their house and keep the mortgage in their name? Who would do that? That would be crazy.
Right.
But, I hadn't really experienced what motivated sellers were like yet. I was doing short sales, and, well, short sales, they're motivated because, they're in trouble. But that was, I never even considered just trying to take over their deed or take over their mortgage and, instead of doing the short sale, because I just didn't know how to do it. I'm thinking those people would have probably done it actually, but I didn't know that.
Right. There is, it is an eye-opening experience to actually, the first time you really encounter a motivated seller, someone who says, I just don't care. And I know that's a hard concept for a lot of people to get until they experience it. And in this market, you hear it a lot. Listen, nobody's going to sell to me, because you get a lot of no's, and you get a lot more no's today just because sellers tend to be more educated today. But does that mean they all are? Does that mean no one will give you that property? And a perfect example of how it still happens today is one of our Max students that messaged me this week and said, listen, I've got my first sub 2 deal that we're working on, and I want to make sure we get this thing done. So we called a really quick Zoom meeting, got several of the students. I'm sorry?
Unless he's not, he was on earlier. I'm not sure if he's still on.
Oh, yeah? Is he still here?
Well,
so that's Philip. And so we got on there. Guys, listen to the numbers on this thing. This house needs minor repairs. He's going to put in a new central heat and air system that he said he's going to spend about $5,000 on. But as is, it's worth $125 to $140. And after repair, of course, it'll be worth a little bit more. But in the meantime, these are 2 sellers they owe $66,000 on this property, and they just want to get rid of it. They just went through a nasty divorce. Neither one of them's living in the house. They just want this finality. So the payments are current. They've been making them. They just want it off their back. So they're giving this guy a house with current payments, a $66,000 balance. He needs to spend $5,000 to sell this property for, $125 to $140. So either way this thing works out, as a fix and flip, minor fix flip, he's looking to make, $30,000, $40,000 in profit after realtor fees, everything else. As a seller finance deal, he'll probably make $60,000 plus over 3 to 4 years with cash flow, down payment, and back end.
Now, what do most people think? What do most people think they can? What do most people think they can only do with that?
Oh, with something like that deal, a wholesale type deal, or something along those lines. But that
just limits their options.
Right. You're exactly right. And who would do that? Who would give away a house when they only owe 50% of what's owed on it? Well, a motivated seller would. And so I told him, he told me about the deal yesterday or day before. And I said, you need to message me and make sure that you tell me when you got the contract. He sent the contracts out. He got the contract back and messaged and said, hey, it's under contract. So we're going to, barring a title issue or something unforeseen, man, that is a home run for sure. Lower price property, 50 cents on the dollar. It happens. Okay. Right. So see, we've got some, I don't know if these are comments or questions. What are you seeing? Let's see what we got. Let's see here. Once you get so many views on YouTube, start making the money. I don't know about that. We don't have a ton of subscribers. If you guys haven't subscribed, get over there and do so I can start making the money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and share this anyway. I mean, not just for that, but because,
share it.
Not the most, topical.
Share it on your wall. Get everybody over here to watch. We like to show off. Hey, Sarah, good morning.
We like to show off.
We'll show everybody our pool, man. We're living large. I'll tell you, it's not bad for somebody born in Mississippi with a 9th grade education. Not too shabby. Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Well, I did graduate high school, but.
Well, see, I didn't even do that. Gosh. I know you offer JV assistance. Have you thought about a flat consulting fee? We used to do that, Kevin, and just decided that this year, we started that this year, that we're not doing JV outside of Max students. So you're a Max student, we'll JV with you, but you have to be a Max student to JV with us. We want to make sure that you're being trained properly and we don't have to retrain you off of any bad habits. So I'm always super confused on the acquisition side and dispo side of how things happen. Matt, if you're talking about the 12-house blueprint, acquisition is subject to. Now, could you do it another way? Yeah, you could, but we just don't, because that's what we like. I'm telling you, my first 12 years as an investor, I was a transaction engineer, and there are a lot of people that say that's the best way to do things, and it may be for you. It's just not for me. It's a lot of different things to do. When you decide that you're tired of doing rehabs, or you're tired of the pressure of dealing with short sales or anything like that, you really, after a few years of being an investor and being exposed to a lot of concepts, you decide these things work best for me. I like taking over payments. I don't like to borrow money, even from private lenders, really. If I can get a seller to hand over a deed to me, then I'm going to sell that with seller financing every single time. You guys have heard me talk about why I prefer seller financing to lease options. And if you haven't, I think we just released an Ask the Goat in the last few days. I think that's on the YouTube channel. That'll tell you why I prefer seller financing to lease options. There's several reasons. One, you can collect a larger down payment. For example, here in Florida, you can't collect over 5% in option consideration on a lease option without giving the buyer an equitable interest in the property. That means you would have to foreclose if they default and refuse to move. With seller financing, I can collect as much down as I want. Yes, the buyer will still have equitable interest, but I would rather collect 40,000 down than 20. So, plus you get a larger stay and pay rate, is what I call it, a percentage of people that actually stay, continue to pay you, and take ownership in the property. So for me, the acquisition is subject to, the sale is always seller finance. That's what we like.
Not always.
What's that?
I mean, sometimes you just want to sell it. You want to flip it, like I did.
Yeah, right. And that worked for you because,
as opposed to, I mean, yeah, always as opposed to these options, but not always as opposed to other strategies.
mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes you want to just sell it,
right?
Because that one wasn't going to cash flow that I had, and
mm-hmm.
so it didn't make sense.
Right. And that's actually one of the top questions that we had here today was how to evaluate a sub 2 deal, because not all of them are going to make sense for a keep and seller finance. In other words, let's say that someone calls you today, Matt, with a property that's worth $200,000 and they only owe $120,000, but for whatever reason they want to walk away, but their payment, maybe for some reason it was a subprime loan, it's got a 10% interest rate on it, the market rent for that property is $1,100 and the payment's $14,000. Does that make sense for you to keep as a seller finance deal? No, but there is enough equity there to flip it, to sell it as a what's the term everyone use now, a subtail, or whatever it may be. But you could take that house, do a little bit to it or nothing to it, sell it as is, put it on the MLS, pay realtor fees, everything else, and still come out with a check. So in that instance, it wouldn't make sense. Now, we pay full price for houses. It's common to pay full price. Could we do that same scenario, pay full price with one that didn't make sense for cash flow? Could we do that, Jody?
I was reading the comments, so I didn't hear that question.
Okay.
I'm not paying attention.
No, we couldn't. Why? Because what lets us buy houses at full price, sell with seller financing, and make a profit is time. Okay. Mm-hmm. We can mark them up 8%, 10%, collect a down payment. Our underlying note says at 3%, we wrap that at 7%, 8%, or 9%. Our principal pay down is greater than our buyers. Plus, we're further into the amortization. So that creates a spread for us. We have cash flow and we get a back end on the deal. So time is actually the difference for us, the interest spread and then time. So that's how we still make money doing that stuff. And we don't have that if we flip it. So, and if the thing won't cash flow, then there's no sense in keeping it. That's why I just want to pull the short sale queen in and let her experienced team handle it. I agree. Nicole Espinoza, we've had her on here. And just, I mean, she's, you call her up, you give her the numbers and she can take it from there and then either pay you a fee for the deal or percentage of it when she's done. And that's what I prefer, is to let professionals do the professional stuff. Same thing with working on a car. You're not going to catch me doing an oil change, right? Because I'll probably screw it up. I'm not very mechanical. I'm not mechanically inclined at all, not very tech savvy. So I tend to either let Jody take care of those things, not the oil change, but the
no,
she doesn't do oil changes either. But
just
take it, if something needs to, these guys that make all these little videos and stuff and say, I wonder how much the dealership would have charged me to do that. I say, whatever it is, it was worth it because I can't do it. Okay, so let's see. Well, Matt joined a coaching group. The order's all laid out. Appreciate that, Scott. Yeah, Matt, we want to get you in the group over there and teach you how to buy some houses. Matt says, what if the market shifts? You just rent it out to the market corrects. That is your distant plan B. But let me tell you something, and people worry about that, and it's a really good question. It's a good concern. when you're evaluating that deal, the reason students will tell you, one of the first questions I'll ask them is, what will it rent for? Okay. Because we know from experience that we can typically fairly simply and easily get about $100 a month more than market rent if we structure the payment to fall into that place. So if my underlying payment is 11, market rent is 14, I know I can probably get 15 a month with seller financing. That's a fair payment. People transitioning from rentals are okay with paying $100 a month more to own their home. So my payment's 11, I'm getting 15, I'm cash flowing 400 a month. But remember, the rental rate is important because, as you said, let's say that I sell the house to Tom for 225. Its market value today is 205, so I marked it up about 9%. He gives me 25,000 down. He moves in, and next year the market takes a major shift, and he still owes me 205, which is what I owe on the underlying, but the house is now only worth 160. What are the chances he's going to call me up and go, "Hey, William, you sold me this house. I owe you 205. It's only worth 160. I'm out of here." And people worry about that. But the truth is, most homeowners, they bought the house. They loved it. It's their home. It's not an investment. If they can afford the payment before the crash, they can afford it now. They're just going to stay and ride it out. Probably there were a few strategic foreclosures during the last crash, but most homeowners stayed in their home. They didn't move out because it was worth less money. So most of the people are going to stay. Now, the few that you'll get back, yes, your exit at that point would be to use it as a rental, because you can't sell a $160,000 house to someone for 205. I mean, in good conscience, you can't do that. Now, I know some investors who would, but we just can't do that. It's not fair to them.
And I was going to say, and if they can afford to keep making their payments, they don't want to walk away from their down payment money either. So, I mean, they're taking a bigger loss if they leave.
Yeah. The truth is, if you've sold the house, your buyer is most likely going to stay. Right. So, but on the chance that they did move, and that's why you want to make sure that, what will this thing rent for? Could I still make money if I had to rent this thing out? And right, as long as you can do that.
It's possible that while the market is down and their value is lower, that they have to move for some reason, and then you would be in that situation. Right. If they get a job transfer or anything like that, then you would be in that situation. But that's when the plan B comes in.
Mm-hmm. Distant plan B.
Distant plan B.
Distant. We don't want to be landlords. No. Will we if that happens? Well, if we have to. Is there a way to see more videos in the Goat Talk vault? There are 5 I can see, or is that all that stays up at a time? Every Goat Talk we have ever done, Brad, is still here inside the forum. I think you're inside the forum now. If you go to videos, you should be able to look at each and every one of them. So we never take a video down.
Also on YouTube, I'm not sure if the first ones, I think they're all on there. Maybe the first couple aren't on there, but on YouTube they're all in there too, and a playlist.
Right.
Goat Talk playlist.
But everyone stays inside the forum. We don't delete any of them, so you should be able to find them all. You can certainly find, I don't know, even about the podcast. We're trying to convert the older ones to video too, but we don't have all the podcasts on there, right, on YouTube yet. But we'll try to get those done. Vincent, hey Vincent, good to see you today. Tax free, are you recommending cold calls or door knocking to generate seller leads? As far as generating seller leads, it depends on what you're doing. If it's pre-foreclosures, we always door knock. We never cold call those. I want to get face to face with those people. Those, to me, those are the very best leads available. And the added benefit from door knocking pre-foreclosures is you're actually visiting the house. And I tell people this all the time, and I really don't think most of them get it. But if I've got a list of 20, and the numbers are going up, guys, you guys pay attention to this. I know for a year there were no foreclosures, but they are coming back now. So, I mean, they're worthwhile to pursue. If you got a list of 20 in your area that you're going to go out and drive today, you're going to find at least a couple of those that are vacant. And those are the ones you really need to be working on, because the biggest hurdle to overcome with sellers that are in foreclosure is they want to stay in their house. They want to keep their home. They want to stay there. The people that have already left don't have that attachment. They're out. They've written it off. It's gone. And if you can track them down, that's when a skip tracing service is important. If you've got a service, we had the gentleman on with IDI to talk about their service. There's some other ones, of course, that may be harder to get. But if you can track those people down, first thing you want to do is knock on the neighbors' doors, talk to them. Do you know where Tom went? I'm trying to track him down. Maybe they'll help you. Neighbors will tell you a bunch of stuff.
They're much more forthcoming than the people themselves.
Right. I don't know where he went, but his son lives over on 5th Street, whatever. They will help you because people like to share what they know.
Especially if they don't like them.
That's right. Especially
tell you all the dirt.
But start there, and then just a search of the name. We also did a Go Talk with Stephanie Shepard recently, and she finds the unfindables, and she gave a bunch of great tips on how to track down people. Just some really simple stuff you can do that's free, that you can even train a VA to do for you. But when you find those vacant properties, track those people down, offer them a little bit to sign some documents for you, and they'll give you the house most of the time. So, but that's why door knocking is so cool, because you can find those vacant properties and then track those people down and probably get you some deals. So that's what I would recommend. Cold calling, that's great for other people. Zillow sellers, other lists that you may pursue, vacant properties or out-of-state owners. My recommendation to you to avoid all of the frustration and just being beat down is to hire a cold caller to do the initial outreach. Hey, I'm calling about your property, get a little bit of information, see if they're open to seller financing or whatever it is that you want to do, and let your cold caller provide you with the leads that are open to talking about it. And then you make contact. That's what I would do. That's what we do, actually. We have a cold call. And he does a good job. He calls 250 a day, and he sends us probably a dozen people a day who are open to discussions. So, anyway, I recommend it.
So most of them aren't super open, but.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't say 4-letter words and hang up.
No, but usually once you get a little more into it, they're like, oh, no, not that.
Yeah.
But that's the numbers game.
Matt says, yes, like get the deed out in trust, assign in land contract, get RMLO service. You're talking about all the details, Matt. Yes. And the details are important. And I'm telling you, we go into that stuff in depth in the Max group. So,
and in the course, I don't remember if he has bought the course before or not.
Right. Yeah, the course is detailed as well. I think we've got a link in here for that if you want to throw that up. You can find that at sub2deals.com, Matt. If you've got specific questions, you can post them in the group, in the forum. We'll answer those for you. But yeah, I mean, we've also got, it seems like we've got sort of a step-by-step thing out there somewhere. I can't remember. We've got a 90-day action plan that you can find, I think, and download that may help you with some of those steps. But the Max group, that's where you want to be for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vincent had a question. Can you buy a new house with conventional loans and put it in a land trust? Or do you have to close in your personal name and put it in a land trust? I can tell you, Vincent, that probably 99.999% of banks are not going to let you take title in a land trust. Conventional financing, 30-year fixed rate, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, no, you're not going to be able to do that. Now, if you have a relationship with a small local bank, and that's not going to be a conventional loan, that's going to be some investor financing or something other than that, we have let them they have let us take houses in the past in a trust for investment property. But in general, yes, conventional financing, you are going to have to take title in your own name and then put it in a trust. Is that perfect? No. Is it better than not doing it? Yes. And the primary reason for that is that any judgment or lien you get against you personally will not attach to that real estate. So if you go out, if you run over somebody and get sued and have $1 million judgment against you, it won't attach to your properties that are in a trust. And there's some other advantages as well. But the privacy aspect is going to be limited because it was in your name first. And that's an easy trail to follow. So that's why Sub 2 is really such a great tool in financing to use in conjunction with a trust, because your name is never anywhere. Okay. It goes from Tom Seller to the XYZ Land Trust. There, Vincent, your name is nowhere to be found either on the mortgage or in the chain of title.
You're incognito.
I'm sorry?
Incognito.
That's right. So it's the excellent privacy tool there. All righty. See. Wholesale. Wholesaling and that stuff, I don't know. Jody might know more about that than me. I've never been much of a wholesaler. The only wholesale deals I've ever done were accidental, pretty much. They were properties I knew I didn't want out of the gate, and I was looking for somebody to take them off my hands, which is generally another investor. So I don't know.
He might have been just answering a question. I'm not sure what that was for.
I don't know about all those fancy new terms. These guys, these new teachers, they have all these words that I had never heard before. So I don't know. They're all these.
I think what I did a couple of short sales first, and then I did what I think is called wholetailing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did what I did, but I think that's what they call wholetailing. Is I bought it and I did a minimal. They were REOs, so I did a minimal amount of work to make them. What's the word for it? Like, able to get a loan. Somebody could get a loan. Like, you had to have all the things functioning. The plumbing had to work and stuff, or they wouldn't lend on it. So I just did what I had to do to get it, to be able to get the loan, and didn't fix up the cosmetic stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, I got in for a few minutes.
Was he in the green room?
I didn't see him in here, so I think he's on the other link.
He should try it again if he's still on.
Yeah, you should try it again. Jump in here with us, Mark. In all the courses I've taken, it goes deep into strategy, but just not documents, what to record, where, and order of legal stuff, and how it's recorded.
Oh, we tell you all that stuff.
I know we've got some Mac students in here that have the course. You guys, I can tell you, Matt, but I'd rather somebody else has taken it tell you. We include every document that you need to do these transactions, tell you exactly what to record, the order of the things that you need to do, very detailed, step by step. What I did was I just took everything that I knew and do and just put it down on paper. And you've been on enough of these goat talks to know, that I'm pretty simple. I'm not really complicated, and my writing's not either. So I can guarantee you that thing will take you from A to Z on how to do it. Just go read the testimonials at sub2deals.com on it. It's step by step. I am a little bit prejudiced, but
well, just so you know, William gets like an A++ on Grammarly every week. So he's a good communicator and a good writer. So
yeah. And then Matt, if there happen to be any holes anywhere that you don't get, all you have to do is ask. We'll get you taken care of. Okay, Facebook user. Hi, William and Jody. Hope you're enjoying Florida. We are. We love it here. Thanks so much for saying that. I've talked with several sellers about doing Sub 2, and most of them don't feel comfortable with the idea. I'm guessing they need to be desperate to sell or agree to a Sub 2. That is just not the case. Do most of them need to have a compelling reason to sell? Yes, they do. Is someone who doesn't need to sell, who has all the time in the world, who's got plenty of money, are they going to be super motivated? Sometimes they are. The best deal that I've ever done was by a guy. It was by actually I was at a weekly real estate meeting before we had our real estate club in Macon, and when I came out of the restaurant, the guy was leaving a note on my truck, and he said, I walked up to him and said, "Hey, can I help you?" And he said, "Well, I saw your signs here on your truck, and I was just going to leave you a note. I've got a house that I need to sell. It's not too far from here." And so we talked, and this had been the home that he and his wife had bought after they first got married. They'd raised their kids. Their kids were all gone now. This guy was in his 50s. He had built a big, nice new home on the golf course a couple of years before. They moved into it, and he had been meaning to go over and do a couple of updates to that house. It needed carpet. It still had, if I remember right, orange shag carpet from the 70s or 80s, and old light fixtures. House was in great shape. It was a big 4-bedroom home on a huge lot, in great shape. It was just a little outdated. And he'd been going over and mowing the grass and having to keep it up. And he said, "Man, I'm just sick of mowing that grass." And, and I don't remember the exact numbers on this house, but, it was maybe $150,000 home that they owed 70 or 80,000 on. And he said, "Really, I'm just tired of it. I just want to get rid of it." And don't know to this day why he didn't list it. I didn't ask him at the time. But when he said, "I just want to get rid of it," and I said, "Well, would you sell it for what you owe on it?" He said, "Would you buy it?" And I said, "Well, yeah, we can. And this is what we'll do." And he said, "I'm okay with it." And he just signed it over to us. All we did was change the carpet out, put in some new light fixtures, spent $3,000 or $4,000, and sold it immediately on seller financing. And I expected to make over $100,000 on that house over 5 years or so. But turns out these people refinanced us within a year, and we only made about 80. That guy just handed me the keys to that house. It was just $80,000. Boom.
So he wasn't desperate to sell it.
Yeah.
He just was tired of it.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to deal with it.
He wasn't broke. He, had plenty of money. He was a smart guy, but something, he just had to mow the grass one too many times. And I don't know why he didn't hire somebody to do it, but he didn't. And ultimately it doesn't really matter. You just have to talk to them. I wish I knew your name, Facebook user, so I could address you by name. You said, or be in pre-foreclosure. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You'd be surprised at the number of people in foreclosure that don't seem to be super motivated. It's all in the story. And that's what I tell people all the time. It's important to engage the sellers you're talking with. Find out why. Why do you want to sell? Tell me, what's the number of people in foreclosure that don't seem to be super. So anyway, so my answer to you is no, they don't have to be. You're just not talking to the right person. Is every seller that you talk to going to be open to letting you take over the payments? Absolutely not. Most will not be. But again, if you were on earlier when I talked about Phil's deal from just a couple of days ago, they just went through a divorce. And this is the last piece of the puzzle, and they just want it gone. So just talk to your sellers, find out the story, and that's where your deal's at. Would you agree, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Randy added to our conversation earlier, when a crash happens, rents usually increase because demand goes up from people losing their homes. You're absolutely right. Randy, as one of our Mac students, he is a force over in Arkansas. Randy, how many houses are you buying a month right now? So if you guys need to talk to Randy, he's killing it over there. Okay, Brad says, all right. He is, okay. Let's see, leave notes on the neighbor's doors if they don't come out. That's right. Just work on making contact with those people. I'm telling you, pre-foreclosures, the vacant houses, they are the gold. Stephanie is awesome. Yes, she is. And you know what? She really knows what she's doing. And Jeff's talking about Stephanie Shepard, the Finding the Unfindables girl. Not only is she an expert at what she does, she's an amazing person, and that's important.
Yeah, she's super nice.
Yeah. Brad says, when doing owner finance, if you charge or don't charge interest, doesn't it make a difference with taxes? I think what you're asking is if your seller sells to you with seller financing with no interest, you could have an issue with the IRS, attaching some interest, or I can't remember the term they use for it, imputed interest, or I can't remember the word. Like I said, I'm not too smart. But anyway, the IRS could determine down the line that you should have been paying some interest, but their required interest is super low. And most sellers, we're going to offer them something. It depends on how you're trying to do your deal, what you're wanting to tempt them with, or whatever. A lot of times we'll use that strategy with sellers that have a lot of equity, and we'll just ask them, let's say the house is worth 2, they owe 1, they're wanting to sell, they want 200. So, well, we could probably give you your price. So you're looking for how much after the sale? How much are you looking to put in your pocket? And if they say, well, we expect 100,000, first we would try to point out to them that they probably wouldn't get that after cost to sell and some other things. But when we got down to a number, we'd say, okay, Brad, what if I handed you 80,000 in cash today, what would you do with that? And some people will say, well, that's none of your business, and that's okay. But some will just tell you, well, I'm just going to put it in the bank. Okay, and what's the bank going to pay you? Have you checked that lately? Because they're paying about 20.25% interest a month or whatever. What if we could pay you 4% or whatever your number is? Okay, well, how does that work? So, find out their story, find out their plans, what they want to do, and then just make them a better deal. So. But yes, to answer your question, you generally want to pay the seller some interest. We have had 0 interest deals, though, if depending on their situation and what they're wanting the money for and how much it is. So just do what works.
We have quite a few questions left, so we got to
start rolling.
A little tiny bit.
All right. Well, you start putting them up when you hit the questions.
We can just go through them, but I'm just saying there's quite a few.
Hey, Ben, good to see you. We're in Apollo Beach. We're having a great time here in Apollo Beach. So
it's just outside of Tampa.
Yeah, just outside of Tampa. Matt, yes, it's confusing to me. Well, man, we'll try to get it all worked out for you. Subject 2 was very confusing to me when I first got started too. I thought there was a lot of paperwork, and I can remember being in my office, taking each piece of paperwork and laying it out on the floor and going, okay, this gets done first and this gets done second. And then this trust document, and then all these things have to be done. But I'm telling you, it's like anything else. It's like learning a new language or anything. Once it clicks, you do your first deal or so,
you get it.
You got somebody to walk you through, you'll be just fine. Don't let the specifics stop you from making offers. That's right. That's what we tell our students all the time. Listen, get out there and get a deal under contract. We'll walk you through the process. All right. Some of the original podcasts also go over the steps in detail. Yes, they do, Scott. So look at the original podcast. If you're not signed up, subscribe to us. We're on all the podcast channels, Libsyn, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. I can't even remember all of them. But go subscribe to those. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And
do we have a banner for that? I don't know.
I like Wholetail when it works. You guys are killing me. In today's crazy market, Wholetail can be amazing. Yep. Let's see.
That's true. That's in the guides too.
Yep. Inside the guides.
It's not quite as detailed, but it's there.
Denial is the first issue with pre-foreclosure. Vacant is golden. Absolutely it is. You better believe it. Those are the best things out there. Okay, that's Tracy. The course has every document needed. We've gone through several using only the documents that William gave us. But I know Tracy, she's smart. She had her attorney look them over and make sure they were applicable for her location. Scott, Matt, definitely buy the course if you aren't ready to join the group. Appreciate that, Scott. I've talked to Matt. He needs to pull the trigger and join the coaching group. That's right, Matt. You need to get in there with us. Always have to have it really dumbed down. Well, me too, Matt. And that's why I say it can't get more dumbed down than what we'll give it to you as. I just really kept it simple because, I love this quote by Frank Kern, and he says, um, if you want to teach people, keep it simple. If you want to impress people, make it sound complicated.
Right.
Okay. And we want to teach you.
Use the big fancy words. And
I'm telling you, there's nothing like getting a message from someone, an email, a messenger, and Jody can tell you. It takes your breath away when somebody writes you an email or sends you a message and says, "You guys changed my life. You really showed me I don't have to work like a dog for whatever. I can spend time with my family. I can do the things I want to do."
I know, and you've gotten like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even in the last 2 years.
We talked to a new student yesterday that just joined the group, and he told me, he said, you really made it possible for me. And that was even before I joined the group. He said, just your podcast, your videos, whatever. He said, I took over the payments on a house for $140,000. I gave her $15,000 in cash. That house is worth $440 today, and I'm holding it as a rental. That's a pretty good profit there on a deal. So, yeah. What is the StreamYard link? The StreamYard link to come into the green room. That's a link that we give our Mac students so they can come in and join us in here. Renee, you need to join us in.
You can just watch it from Facebook or YouTube, though.
Yeah.
You don't have to join to be involved.
Can you share what your truck decals say? I'm a big believer, Vincent, in keeping it super simple. I say the same thing for my magnetics and bandit signs. You can say we, you can say I, but I buy houses, phone number, offers made on all calls, or cash in 48 hours. Don't try to put a lot of stuff on there. Just let them know how to reach you and say something to make sure they understand the speed with which you can make things happen. Now, if I'm taking over a deal subject to, and the seller's not getting any cash, then there's no cash to be had, but cash in 48 hours makes a difference to people. Maybe I'm taking over the payments and the seller's getting $5,000. Can I get them that money in 48 hours? You bet. If you've got the connections set up, to get title work done, to do your inspection, you've got a buyer's list, you can make that stuff happen. So put those things in place so you can fulfill those promises. Carla said, I have a seller in New Jersey that is actively in bankruptcy but won't admit any financial hardships. Well, I don't know the context that this is what you're saying here, really, what you're trying to do.
She was commenting on something we talked about earlier, how they're in denial and.
Oh, okay. In denial about. Yeah. Well, I say the fact that they're in bankruptcy pretty much sums up they're having financial hardship.
Well, but they won't admit it to her.
Okay.
They may not know she knew that they're in bankruptcy.
Right. I got you. So you're contacting a seller that's okay. So that's one of the bankruptcies you're pursuing, and that won't admit. What you've got to do on that, Carla, is just put them in a follow-up and say, okay, I'll just check back with them from time to time. And then when they're ready to sell, hopefully they'll contact you. I know you, so I know that you really know how to talk to people. So I'm sure they would call you if they needed to do something. Let's see. It didn't sell on the market. Should I just move on?
See, we're so far behind in questions, we can't remember what the text was.
It didn't sell. Well, they had it on the market. So, my approach would have been, and I'm sure yours probably was, are you still looking to sell your house? And just see where it goes from there. That's the conversation I would have. Okay, if you'll put the questions up, then that might move a little quicker. Hey, Jody and William, it's Gabby. Hey, Gabby. Okay, great. I'm on Facebook for some reason. Before. I could go into YouTube. No, if you'll go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you'll have to click a button, I think, and then it'll show your name and profile. So it's good to see you. We met with Gabby and Raphael last week. Just got the POA notarized, man. Phil, man, you're just killing
so proud
it.
of you.
That is a super deal. That is a super deal. So we want to hear all about it. He said he's going to keep us updated on it. Phil's doing his first sub 2. We're so excited for him. He's going to make a ton of money. Let's see. Pre-foreclosure is tough. I think that's where offering help in regards to saving their home, then moving to discussions of short sale and sub 2 when the loan mod doesn't get approved or they fail to hold up their end. I agree, Jeff. And if you guys haven't made contact with Kevin Strong, he was in here a few minutes ago. If you still are Kevin, you need to put your contact information up here. We'll put it up. Kevin specializes in loan modifications, helping people get them. He's a great resource. I tell all of my students to first approach people with a heart to help. If you can help them save their home, do that. And then if it doesn't go through for some reason, then you can move forward with trying to do the short sale or buy the house. But try to help them first. Kevin, if you're in here, put your information up and we'll share that. Okay, 5 to 15. Randy's buying 5 to 15 houses a month, man. It's killer. We need to have a phone conversation, Randy. I know we were supposed to do that. I know, right? Don't make the producer mad. Absolutely. I agree. Ben says, I know Apollo used to live in St. Pete, Clearwater before I moved back to Kentucky. Yeah, it looks like a great place, but we're waiting to see how July turns out. I heard it's going to be pretty hot. So.
No, it'll be hot.
If they deny twice, I'm asking them about it directly. Okay.
And here's what he said.
And that's Jeff's approach. Okay, so you already have the bankruptcy taken care of and know what to do, right? I love that.
So it sounds like he lets them offer it, but if they don't, he's like, okay, I know what the scoop is.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Jeff, I'm curious. Well, how the heck do you know about my bankruptcy? Tell me what you say then. Okay, so we'll get to that. We got other questions?
Well, it's public, isn't it?
I don't know.
Somewhere?
Is it? I just want to know what Jeff says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, who we got next?
We've been staking out your house and.
Yeah, we've been watching you. Yeah, we've been
your
checking you out. We don't want to get creepy or anything.
I know, right?
Okay. Who we got next? Vincent?
I think we got caught up.
Do we? Okay. Did we? Okay. So I'm way behind. So you're further along.
I think I missed that one for Vincent because it seemed like it was longer.
Really hard to find people interested in seller financing here in Southern California. Most are sitting on 200 to 500 in equity, but I know they are out there. They are out there, Vincent, for sure. But listen, just do what Phil Smith and Phil's. I don't know where you're at. I don't remember. I think we've talked before. I'm not sure where you're at, but one of our Mac students is in Folsom, and he just started buying out of state. And those guys are rocking it now. Phil, if you're still on here, you and Tracy, tell us. I mean, you guys, last time I talked to you, you guys had, I don't know, 3 or 4 under contract. Just go out of state, Vincent. You can buy remotely. It's not that difficult. It's really the same steps that you would do buying locally. You need a couple of people in place to do some things for you. So just look outside of California if you think California is too tough a market, or you haven't got that zeroed in yet. Keep it simple. Court records are open to the public. Okay, so simple enough. Same thing with a lot of other motivating factors from the county land records. Okay. Well, good for you, man. You're very direct. And I've heard you on the phone, Jeff, you're very non-threatening. So, and a lot of that matters. It's how you say it to people. You can say, well, it's easy to look you up and find you and see that you filed bankruptcy or whatever, or you can just be very non-threatening like Jeff. Well, those things are just public records. So yeah, keep it light for sure. Okay. Did I miss one or?
Yeah, we got a couple in the last few minutes.
Yep, we got a couple more minutes left.
Sorry, that one.
Do you think inflation will cause an increase in inventory in the market due to people losing their houses? What I think is going to happen, LaJohn, and this is worth the cost that it was to you, the amount you paid for it, Okay, it's just an opinion. I think that we're going to see a correction. I mean, we always do. You know, real estate's cyclical. People forget every time. Oh, this is going to continue. It's going to continue. Well, we talked about this with someone the other day about Colorado Springs as an example. Homes have gone up 27% a year for the last 4 years there. A house that was worth $200,000 4 years ago is now worth, $400,000. And at that rate, if that continues, it won't take but another 5 years or so before houses, the median priced home there is $1 million. Well, can that sustain itself? I don't think so. No one will own a home. And not only that, people won't be buying them for investment purposes because they want cash flow. What happens at that point? There's got to be a correction.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen with inflation, and Bill Walston touched on this in his live last night, during early 80s when interest rates were 21%, people still bought houses. They bought houses with negative amortization, you guys. And what that means is they bought a house for $200,000 and the next year they owed $201 and $202. Every month they made a payment, they owed more money. But people still want to own a home. I think that we are going to see a correction. I think the government is going to manipulate how many houses can go into foreclosure. They're going to encourage the banks to do a lot of things to keep people in their houses. So there's not going to be a super big flood of houses on the market like there was in 2009.
They're just going to trickle. I think they'll trickle.
Right. And I think that's going to stabilize. I don't think they're going to go down drastically, but they will. It is already flattening. We see longer days on market in every market pretty much now. Yes, it's still hot in a lot of places, but they are on the market. They're not on the market 5 minutes now, at least. They're on the market for longer. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a huge change anytime really soon. I just don't. I don't see it happening. Okay. Anybody else? We're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
Do you guys like just these open Q&A? Should we do more of these? Let us know in the comments. Even if we're off of here before you get to respond, let us know, and we'll start doing more of these where you can just ask your general questions. And
or do you prefer the topics?
Yeah.
Topical.
Different topics.
Episodes.
Just let us know. All right. So let's see.
That's almost are just like salutations.
Okay, so everybody's just bugging out. Okay, all right, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the notification bell and do all that stuff everybody tells you to do, so you'll know when we have another live coming on here. We're here every Thursday for Goat Talk, and we'd like to give you the content that you want. Tell us if you like the Q&As. Tell us in the comments what topics you would like to see, if you'd like to see a specific topic, and
don't forget to share them.
Yeah. Share it so we can get some
whether
more
you're on
people
YouTube or Facebook, either one. I don't think you can share out of the Facebook group, the Sub2 forum group, because it's a private group. But if you're on here through William's link, you can share from there. I think it's public, right?
It is.
Okay.
You can share from there, and you can also share from YouTube. So if you do that, we would appreciate it. Okay.
Right.
So
I think that's it.
Done? All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. You guys have a fantastic day, and get out there, talk to some sellers, and buy some houses. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.